These are New York cold cases from 1981 to 1989. Before we get started on these cold cases, please make sure you're following the channel, give the video a like, and you share it out. It not only helps the channel, but more importantly, it helps us spread awareness. Martin Crumblish Jr. disappeared from Dobbs Ferry on May 3, 1981. He was 17 years old. He would now be 60. He was 6 foot and weighed 165 pounds with blonde hair and blue eyes. Any information, call 914-693-5500. Holly Hughes disappeared from Staten Island on July 15, 1981. She was 7 years old. She would now be 50. She was 4 foot and weighed 50 pounds with brown hair and blue eyes. Any information, call 646-610-6914. Janice Fulham disappeared from Smithtown on October 30th, 1981. She was 17 years old. She would now be 59. She was 5'7" and weighed 120 pounds with brown hair and green eyes. Any information, call 631-852-6000. Russell Mort disappeared from Wheatfield on May 5th, 1982. He was 2 years old. He would now be 44. He was 3 foot and weighed 30 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes. Any information, call 716-439-9327. Lana Merritt disappeared from Syracuse on February 23, 1983. She was 16 years old. She would now be 57. She was 4 foot 11 and weighed 130 pounds. She had brown hair and brown eyes. Any information, call 315-442-5330. Tia Heath Jackson disappeared from Staten Island on August 14, 1983. She was 10 years old. She would now be 51. She was 4 foot 8 and weighed 90 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information, call 646-610-6914. Kurt Crittens disappeared from the Bronx on September 18, 1983. He was 11 years old. He would now be 52. He was 4 foot 9 and weighed 70 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information, call 646-610-6914. Sean Evans disappeared from Waterton on May 17, 1984. He was 2 years old. He would now be 42. He was 3 foot and weighed 40 pounds with blonde hair and green eyes. Any information, call 315-782-2233. Kelly Morrissey disappeared from Lynbrook on June 12, 1984. She was 15 years old. She would now be 55. She was 5 foot 4 and weighed 140 pounds. She had blonde hair and green eyes. Any information, call 516-573-5336. Jeremiah Huger disappeared from the Bronx on June 25, 1985. He was 4 years old. He would now be 43. He was 3 foot 7 and weighed 45 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any information, call 646-610-6914. Aquila Hodrick disappeared from the Bronx on August 12, 1985. She was 8 years old. She would now be 47. She was 4 foot 11 and weighed 80 pounds with brown hair and hazel eyes. If you have any information, call 646-610-6914. Marlene Santana disappeared from Brooklyn on October 21, 1985. She was only 3 days old, so there's no picture of her when she was a baby. She would now be 38, and this age progression photo shows what they believe she might look like. At the time, she was 1 foot 8, weighed 7 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any information, please call 646-610-6914. Tammy McCormick disappeared from Saratoga Springs on April 19, 1986. She was 13 years old. She would now be 51. She was 5 foot 5 and weighed 108 pounds with brown hair and hazel eyes. Any information, call 518-584-1800. Cindy Rouse disappeared from Kingston on August 16, 1986. She was 17 years old. She would now be 55. She was 5 foot 5 and weighed 130 pounds. She had blonde hair and blue eyes. Any information, call 914-331-8404. Joseph Helt disappeared from Ellenville on January 16, 1987. He was 17 years old. He would now be 54. He was 5 foot 9 and weighed 150 pounds. He had blonde hair and brown eyes. Any information, call 845-626-2800. Andre Bryant disappeared from Brooklyn on March 29, 1989. He was 1 month old. He would now be 37. He was 1 foot 7 and weighed 10 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. Any information, call 718-574-1605. Christopher Dansby disappeared from Manhattan on May 18, 1989. He was 2 years old. He would now be 37. He was 2 foot 6 and weighed 30 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. Any information, call 212-876-7100. Shane Walker disappeared from Manhattan on August 10, 1989. He was 1 year old. He would now be 36. He was 3 foot and weighed 23 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information, call 212-876-7100. If you'd like for me to go more in depth on any of these cold cases, let me know in the comments.